this now imminent, probably, federal invasion, I would call it, of the city of Chicago. Where is everything at on this? There's been a lot of it feels like maybe yesterday Trump was trying to, or 2 days ago, Trump was trying to wait to be invited in and be like, you need me, you need me, Brandon Johnson, because he just got handed this defeat in LA saying that the deployment of the National Guard was illegal. But where are things at when it comes to, Chicago and the Trump administration?
Yeah, so I was given a copy of a formal request by the Department of Homeland Security, a political appointee in the Trump administration, to his counterpart in the Defense Department, asking for military support to be sent to a military base in the Chicago area. I forget the name of the base. I think it was a Navy base. And the idea is that they are going to put troop materiel for logistic support, fuel, and using the base to support ICE operations in the greater Chicago area. And that's kind of how they try to get around Posse Comitatus. They say, oh, we're not actually doing law enforcement. We're just assisting those who are. So therefore, it's not the military engaged in law enforcement. And what's interesting in the case of the Los Angeles ruling that you just mentioned, if you read the ruling, it was pretty interesting. They said that this still violates Posse Comitatus, which should send a chill down everyone's spine. That's not a phrase I want to hear. Military activity declared in violation of Posse Comitatus. I mean, you're
Posse
getting into
Comitatus, meaning you cannot deploy
the military can't. Right. And this, goes right back to the founding of the country because, that was raised as a specific grievance in the article in the Declaration of Independence because of the British troops stationing in the colonies at the time. Mm-hmm. And so it's sort of ironic to see these guys, draping themselves in the flag and talking about patriotism, just spitting in the face of everything that it's supposed to represent with these deployments in states whose governors don't want them, which in itself is just extraordinary. And if you talk to the National Guards people, as I have probably over a dozen of them, they don't like doing this. And it's not even necessarily partisan. It's just people that are like, yeah, this is stupid and pointless and embarrassing. I don't want to do this.
And they don't want to be there. I mean, and I remember, a few months ago, probably when Waj and I still had our show, Tom Homan was super pissed at Chicago because the residents knew their rights and weren't opening doors to ICE. And he was big mad. And now, the same thing is happening. They're trying, basically Brandon Johnson and JB Pritzker are trying to inform residents saying, know your rights and all this. The one language piece with Pritzker that I bristle at personally, having been here in LA, is the don't encourage them, they're using any excuse to sort of crack down. So it could be a sandwich one day, it could be, flipping them off the other day. And that effectively to me sells a citizenry to put up and shut up kind of thing. I
totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Like in DC right now with Mayor Bowser, 20 minutes from me, where folks just 2 days ago, the cat came for you, Ken. He was like, I want to hear about the use and abuse of our military to create martial law. Right here in DC, Mayor Bowser, folks, which I thought was extremely shameful, is now open to having permanent relations with these authorized National Guard folks. And I could tell you, Francesca's in LA, I'm right here in Virginia, close to DC. These National Guard members are armed, just straight up walking around, collecting trash. There's many armored vehicles. Union Station, if you've never been, is so dangerous, folks. There's a Lululemon there and a Jamba Juice, right? The normalization of the military. And also, Ken, I don't know if you saw that kind of breaking news, and you were actually right about the fact that Pentagon is approving the use of Chicago area Navy base for ICE and possible military operations.
Oh, did that finally get break?
Yeah, it came out an hour ago.
Oh, interesting. What outlet?
I saw it in the Washington Post.
Okay, cool. Jesus. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And what's interesting about the memo that I got is it showed that they had already sent what's called an advance team. This is like a prep team that will set up the environment for the troops that will come later from DOD, from the military. I think by Tuesday already. So they had already been there by the time this entire debate had happened. It's really humiliating for the governor, and to his credit, Pritzker had been very critical of this, not just this week but prior to it. But it just shows you the contempt that that the White House has for state sovereignty in these cases.
And yes, and even when there isn't a state like DC, like Mayor Bowser being like, "Oh, they could stay here forever," and you're just, it's so pathetic. I mean, this is the kind of response that so-called Democrats have, and this time, I mean, again,
they're soft on crime, but then they just concede the entire point that it's like, wait, how is the military? They don't even have authority to shoot unless in self-defense. So this isn't even the right tool, even if what you're doing is trying. So they should just dispute the thing on the whole basis, rather than try to play this game of like, oh, actually, maybe it'll help.
Can I go ahead, Francesca.
Oh, just really quickly, I just still feel like we are living in the backlash and the failure to capitalize on the 2020 George Floyd uprising, the biggest uprising, the biggest mass movement of my lifetime, beyond Occupy, beyond the anti-Iraq war movements, right?
Largest protest in American history, Francesca.
In American history. And when you don't make real gains on these issues of moving money into, as Ken, you mentioned, like a social safety net that actually keeps people safe and keeps people, you know, whether it's education or housing, whatever that might be, a jobs guarantee, you were like, what's the next level? We already had fucking tons of cops. Let's send in the National Guard. Let's federalize it, you know? And so we're just still living in a backlash to the backlash to the backlash to the backlash. We're just living in a metaverse of backlashes.
Yeah, I think that's well put. On issue after issue that we've even just talked about here, you know, fentanyl, immigration, crime. I mean, these are things that the opposition party needs to articulate what their vision, what their solution to it would be. And instead, what you get is this reactive kind of like, oh, actually, no, I'm going to do even more of what the other guy wants. And it's like, you're conceding the whole debate. Advance your own proposal for what the solutions would be, because I think that any serious solution is going to look very unlike any of this. It's not that the military is not responding effectively. It's that they're not the right tool to respond to these various problems with. And I wish there was some attempt to articulate that.
It's always the failure, Ken, like you mentioned and Francesca mentioned, is that Democrats, they appear soft on crime. So instead, they try to go Republican light. And by going Republican light, the Republican base doesn't respect them, just mocks them, and then their base walks away. You saw this with immigration as they voted for the Lake and Riley Act. You saw that as they kept quiet after they went after pro-Palestinian students. And now you're seeing it because the one poll that I saw last week, and it could change, it will change, of course. The one poll that Donald Trump was barely kind of even on was tough on crime. And just give it 2 weeks, he's going to go underwater on that as well. So they're like, well, instead of actually standing for something and leading, we're just going to respond and react and be soft. That's what Gavin Newsom did when he invited Charlie Kirk and Steve Bannon. And he realized, oh, this didn't work for me. Let me fight back. His poll numbers have gone up. I am very critical of Newsom. I am still skeptical about Newsom's future as a leader. But, you know, I want to connect the dots to, as you mentioned, Stephen Miller, Ken, and I try to bring the receipts also. Stephen Miller in July, when the Wall Street Journal reported that he was the one who unleashed the master armed ICE agents against Home Depot and 7-Eleven, they reported that he actually wanted a conflict. He was the one in July who used the words insurrection. He was the word who used the word invasion to justify the Alien Enemies Act. And as we're seeing the militarization of our cities, our capital, the unleashing of the Gestapo, my words, against the American people, I go back to the word insurrection that he very deliberately used. And to me, Francesca and Ken, this is all like, literally, they're like just paving the way. This is like the world's most helpful Bond villain, just straight up telling James Bond the plot in advance. And James Bond is like, I wonder what you're going to do. Maybe I should be more civil. Like, I mean, it seems like martial law. Like, is this not the setup for Donald Trump and Republicans to just start up cracking skulls if people start, you know, maybe, God forbid, Francesca throwing a sandwich or protesting, you know, their voting rights being suppressed?
Well, that's sort of what I was hinting at. You know, as much as I want to give Pritzker his flowers, I also think that one of the biggest things that turned people against Los Angeles coming out and demonstrating for their rights and trying to defend their family members and their communities was because people threw something at a Waymo, like a fucking Waymo got like, I'm sorry, but you know, and that was used as a like, well, see, this whole movement is bullshit. And if only we had not protested, things would have been so much better. That is obviously a lie. And to your point, Gavin Newsom, man, I agree with you. Look, he's done better in the last few weeks. Oops, now he's got a new sweep the homeless encampments initiative here in California. So what is it, man? What does that say to the rest of the country? It says, yes, homeless encampments are a problem, not housing is a problem, right? Like basic, healthcare is a problem. The reason that people have to sleep out on the streets, right? Like, let's do initiatives not to sweep encampments, but to make sure people have health clinics. Maybe there's, mobile health clinics for those encampments. And no amount. Okay, that fluff actually is helping me.
Sorry, your crowd, the Bitchuation crowd was demanding the belly rub. They were demanding shots. They even gave money for the shots, and I had to do it. Sorry, Francesca, because you're on a roll. I didn't want to distract you when you were saying important stuff, but the people gave you money for the belly rub, and
there is something more important. Yes, give me super chats. I'll get my cat in this. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.